Hi, and welcome to the Lost Souls unit review. With the Lost Soul, we're going to proceed as with all the other videos. We're going to talk about her formation use, her abilities, and her stats. I decided to go for the Lost Soul next because I felt like this is one of the units the game really wants you to think about. The Lost Soul is in herself a hybrid between a supporter and an attacker, and she's very, very versatile on a lot of different slots. So, first off, the most significant trademark of hers will only show off as we look into her abilities, so I'm going to leave the first part of this video a little bit shorter than usual, and we're going to dive into the abilities right away. So, the trademark move of the Lost Soul is to apply buffs on the enemy team. So, the first skill, Inspiring Heroics, is a stress attack, dealing damage to 2 persons, and it increases the accuracy of the enemy target. At the same time, it does inspire the enemy to step forward, upgradable to more damage or a ward ignoring portion. So the main use of this skill is to lure your opponents ahead, which are not meant to stand in the front rows. A very, very useful thing, and the bonus accuracy is not that horrible to endure in general. Overall, a powerful stress attack. I can only say it's not as worse as it sounds. Keep in mind that this is always a 2-person attack, so you will always damage the person behind the target, but you will only move the target itself. Next up is the Benevolent Spirit, and a very weird spell in at the first glance. It heals your ally, but the Lost Soul will attack in the next turn the healed ally for a magic attack, which won't spend an action. If you look at the numbers, you're healing 19 to 21 and then you're doing damage to 19 to 21. This skill looks pretty useless at the first glance, but it's not at all. You have several options how to do what you want to do. First off, every unit of ward is negating this damage, so you can just support somebody with some extra ward. You can increase the resistance of the unit to mitigate the damage of the magic attack, or you can use somebody like the Blood Phantasm, which has skills like the Transfusion, which heal the complete team of yours when they get damaged. Altogether, this skill always needs some sort of preparation. It can be upgraded to less magic damage or more healing, and once it's upgraded, it's always pretty useful. But once you combo that with other skills which trigger on damage or just very high defensive values, the skill really starts to shine. Next up is the Misleading Beauty. A step back attack dealing a tremendous amount of magic damage, but will increase the target's damage dealt for the remainder of battle. It'll also shove back the target, and this can be upgraded to only 1 tile moving back and less damage, but being a double target attack. And the other upgrade will be way more damage, and the other numbers will stay the same. So with this skill, you increase the enemy's damage, but oh my goodness, the damage is so high on this skill. Also keep in mind that you're shoving back your enemy, so this is the perfect skill for enemy frontliners who like to step into the first 2 ranks and stay there. So you can shove them back and ultimately deal with the extra damage dealt in a way we'll explaining later. Next up is the Stream of Delusion, an AoE stress attack, giving the enemies 2 initiative for the remainder of battle. This is upgradable into more damage or an extra escape chance. So here we apply something beneficial for us in this scenario, but overall it's a very effective stress attack, and the initiative is something you gotta keep track of though. Next up is the Dubious Boon. The target gets wards but deals less damage for the next actions, upgradable to a block and ward portion and reduction of the damage reduction. Well, that sounds a little bit weird, but it makes sense. And the other thing is giving the same amount of wards, but also decreasing the debuff on this one. So, as you can already see, the Dubious Boon and the Benevolent Spirit go together in itself, so you can mitigate the downside of this skill with the Lost Soul herself, while applying debuffs on the target. Keep in mind, this skill is wonderful in combination with the skeleton, which can't be debuffed. It will only get the benefits, but no downsides. And last but not least, Sudden Reality. All buffs and debuffs from the enemies get stripped, and the allies of the Lost Soul gain 1 damage for the remainder of battle for buff and debuff removal. And here the bigger picture comes together. So you'll apply buffs to the enemy and strip them off them again. You'll also strip debuffs from them. This is upgradable to less wrath costs, or also some mana gain for the removal. And this is where the Lost Soul gets really powerful, because you can get rid of all the things you do for your enemies and benefit from that, or you can also consider the Lost Soul just as a flat-out buff stripper if you want to, at a very considerable low cost of 35 Wrath. This is not really much. You can use that a lot of times. Also, it synergizes super well into any debuff combo, and just to give you a few ideas, the Lost Soul combos very well with the Dark Knight. Futile Hopes in its base version, it'll trigger a counter attack from the Dark Knight whenever the enemy receives a buff. So you can use Stream of Delusion for an AoE, you can use Misleading Beauty or Inspire Heroics for follow-ups. You have a lot of options to combo the Dark Knight with that. I already introduced the one use of the Blood Phantasm here, giving Benevolent Spirit and Transfusion. Benevolent Spirit and Transfusion do a nice AoE heal portion, and yeah, I'm pretty sure there are a lot of different ways to use the Lost Soul, which I don't want to give away at this point. Keep in mind that the main uses of the Lost Soul are her supportive abilities, because the Dubious Boon and the Benevolent Spirit are useful in their own, and apart from that, she is very versatile, being able to deal stress damage as well as magic damage in pretty considerable portions. So you just have to wrap your head around how this unit works. So with the stats, we have a pretty high base values on attack and dread, raisable 6 and 7 times. Vigor is pretty low, so is initiative, armor, and resistance, all being only raisable for a few dots. Accuracy is pretty low, ward and block is also pretty low. These are the costs for this very versatile skill set the Lost Soul has to offer. So don't be shy about the looks of these benefits. Always keep track of how these things will synergize with your enemies. So don't give the enemies initiative if you are having low own units which will get finished off soon. Don't increase the damage if you're not able to strip those buffs in time. You get the idea. I like this unit a lot because you have to think about what you do, but if you're pulling the right triggers and make the right decisions and the right combos, the Lost Soul is a very powerful tool to keep your enemy under control and supporting your team at the same time. I hope this video showed you a few ideas you didn't see so far. Feel free to drop me a comment down below if you feel like I forgot something or you want to add something. And I would deeply appreciate any support of this video, be that a like, a share, or even a subscription to my channel. Every action helps me a lot. But you do whatever feels good for you. The most important thing for me is that you come for the next review as well. And of course you enjoyed the video. So, see you guys next time, and goodbye.